So maybe this is going to work. I don't know. Is there anybody out there? Let's see. Step one, change it to live chat. Top check if you don't know. Top check. Work right. Step two, how's my audio? Am I able to be heard? Is that working? I can't use OBS because every time I try to connect to OBS, it says that streaming is disabled on my account, which it shouldn't be, but here we are. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how that works. Let me see. Okay. Well, anyway, so what this is about is this is my second sort of presentation of the software I'm using. Okay, great. Thanks, Aaron. So the software I've been developing over the past like couple of months, month and a half, something like that. So this is called rectangular file. So this is basically something that uses an AI visual learning model to not exactly a document manager. I guess it's more of a not exactly what to call it. It is something that lets you take your notes and turn them into some kind of actionable data, which is something that I'm always talking about a lot in these kinds of spaces, YouTube, Reddit, whatever. We do a lot of writing on, devices like the Tab Pro, and then it's like, okay, but what can I do with it later? Well, you can use the built-in search functionality of devices like Supernote or Books to search for terms, that kind of stuff, right? And that's helpful. But that search often, the index is not persistent, or it does not read your handwriting maybe as well as it could, or there are other problems with it that that they don't really lend themselves to organization up front necessarily, right? So Supernote solves this in an interesting way by using their header system and their keyword system. I think a lot of that works really well. But what I'm trying to do is sort of generalize that kind of an approach for multiple different platforms. So I want to do a little bit of a demo of how this works. Let me just make sure that I have the screen here set up. Cool. So I'm going to go to that background here. So, when I switch to that window, you guys are going to be able to see what I'm doing on my tablets, because that's how the theory goes. Again, as I've said many, many times, not a professional. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so there's your infinite window from me projecting this. But here is the screen on my Tablet 2 Pro. So I kind of want to show you guys the idea behind what would happen when you use this for the first time, right? Where we're just like starting with a document. What are you going to do in order to use this in the most effective way? So we'll just call this RF demo. And I'm sure I'm going to run into demo hell which is what happens when you try to show people something and it will always break because of the fact that you were trying to show someone. I think we're all familiar with that concept, but I just want to make sure everyone's expecting it. Okay. So let's suppose I write some notes. You know, this. Okay. And maybe in this note, I want to talk about a couple of different topics. So I'm going to cover, um, you know, books and super notes. Yeah. So what I can do to call these things out as topics that are going to be common to different documents is the way that I've told it to work is it's going to look for specifically green rectangles around text. So I'll go through this, this, this. Okay. And now I'm going to write some more text to back this up. Maybe we will put some things that these things all focus on. Make some space. Control. Okay. Great. So we'll do that. And then we'll write this. And here is. I'm not entirely sure what they focus on. Okay. And maybe now we'll have like some kind of to do or something like that about these things. So let's see. For books, we will research APIs. And for Supernote, yes. For Supernote, we will say something about I don't know. Um, Settle casting. We want to research what that is and how it works. And for Remarkable, I don't know. Oh, what is that thing called? Zobi. So this is like, I'm not going to talk about this today because I don't have Remarkable and other things. But Zobi is like uh, it is a framework for for adding additional apps to Remarkables that it wouldn't otherwise ordinarily have. So it's sort of like you get root out of the box with Remarkable, which is actually pretty impressive. But Zobi is sort of like a way of you actually doing something that might be useful. So anyway, so now what we're going to do is, because we want to go back and look at these things later, we're going to highlight them. So we'll highlight them in yellow, this, and same for this one. Same for this one. Yeah, this is something weird. It doesn't always show up for some reason. I'm not sure why. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, like it doesn't. Oh, okay. Very strange. It's like it's not showing the highlighting necessarily, which is odd. So the way that this is looking might cause issues later. I'm not entirely sure, because it's like you can see it's double highlighted, right? So it's darker. I didn't intend to do that, and now it doesn't seem like I can undo it. Again, demo hell. Every time, never fails. Okay, so here's what we got, right? Here's our note, and maybe we'll write like a little paragraph about stuff like, I don't know, just to add some additional stuff. And okay, so that's what we got. And now if I go back out of this note, right, uh, there's my RF demo note over there, and you can see up here, it did upload it to my server. So as a reminder, the way that Books does this is you go into sync or something. Oh no, it's in the notes app. So you go in here and okay, let me put that there because I meant to put that to the folder, but it doesn't matter. So you go to sync settings, right, and now you can tell it, hey, I'd like to also export to third-party accounts every time I write something, right? So I have that doing that to my WebDAV server, which is mine is a Nextcloud server. So Nextcloud is an application that lets you more or less run your own cloud service. So this will upload PDFs to that every time I close out of a note. Right? Cool. So let's be back out of that just because I want to show you guys how that works. You can do it. There we go. Cool. So now let's switch over to this other one. So here is, this is definitely significantly advanced from where we were with rectangular file previously with the other video that I did about a week ago. So now you do have to put in a password in order to use it if you haven't used it on this machine, before. Okay. So here we are, right? Here's some stuff from today, some stuff from yesterday. And you'll see that there's a couple of new features on here. So one of the ones that's most interesting is this thing, annotations here, which we'll see in a second. So if I go to inspect, right, here's the stuff I wrote, right? Today, books, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. It looks like it did not mess up the highlighting as badly as I feared, so that's good. Okay, but it did manage to, figure everything out that I wrote, despite my handwriting being interesting at best. Right, and it did also figure out, oh, this is a list of things. Books with no remarkable. Entered apps organization question mark. Research API, cellcast. So right, it got all that correct. And then this is exactly what I wrote. Part of the reason this is happening is because I switched models. So the model I was using before was Qwen 2.5 DL 3B construct. I stepped it up to 7B, and that has made a very, very big difference in the quality of output from the system. So again, what happens is a PDF drops into the folder that it's expecting stuff in. It gets picked up by a file watcher process running in the background. File watcher sucks it up, does some munging to it to turn the PDF into a graphic that the model can read. And then you take the graphic and you tell it two different prompts, basically. So just like you would give a prompt to a ChatGPT instance. So I don't have it on here. Wrong machine. Well, actually, that doesn't matter. I can show you when we get up. How about that? There we go. This is not at all the final version of this source code, by the way. I am still evolving it, and in fact, all of the documentation is out of date. So, very, very out of date. So that's going to change. But if you go and you look at the code for this, probably wrong place. Yeah, processing. Okay. So I'm not expecting you guys to just kind of, figure this all out yourselves. But I do want to show you where the actual prompting of the model takes place. Okay, so first one is oh, it might be at the end of this. Yeah. So the first one is just transcribe the handwritten text in this image as exactly as possible. Okay. So that's the first run of the model that the data goes past. The second run, it does this, and this is very complicated compared to that other one, right? Find text that is surrounded by a green hand-drawn box or rectangle. And then, so that happens, and so it says, important rules, only consider text inside green hand-drawn boxes or rectangles, ignore boxes of any other color, right? Lots of extra instructions, lots of extra conditions that we applied to this. And then, if no green box text is found, just like none. Okay, so you see all this stuff here, right? These are all additional parameters that go into the model when you run it. So that was the green boxes. And then there is another one for oh no, sorry. That's actually an outdated function. I should not have shown you that. I have to get rid of that. So actually what it is this. Find text with these specific annotations. Green box, text surrounded by a green hand-drawn box rectangle, or yellow highlight, text that has yellow highlighting or background. Report each separately, even if text has multiple annotations. If a text has both, report it twice, right? And if there's nothing found, just do none. If text does not have yellow highlighting, do not record any part of it as a yellow highlighted annotation. That's because we're getting false positives from time to time. In fact, I think the one I just did is going to get some false positives. We'll find out in a second. But yeah, I don't know exactly why that's happening yet. We'll have some exploration to do to figure it out. But anyway, so it may just be that I gave it too many instructions in the same prompt, and I have to actually do 2 runs. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what happens. And then we go back over here. Okay, so this is how we did it again. And now if I go to annotations, or view annotations over here for this document, we'll see what it found. So it did find the book, supernote, and remarkable annotations. And then now it seems to see, this is what I'm talking about. Android apps, organizations, Zettelkasten, and none of those are green boxed. I don't think. No, I got confused. This happens. This is why I'm going to have to fix the prompting, I think. But I do have something to account for this. So I did the same thing here. Zovia, Jack and Jill, Taylor Water. But it got the highlights right. Yellow highlight, research APIs, Zettelkasten, Zovia, right? But what I can do is I can go to, so I can either hit enable editing and just like delete what's in there and have it be empty, or I can go into annotations here. So this is the part where it becomes really useful. So here are the green box things, right? Book, supernote, remarkable. These were not actually annotations. I can just delete them. Right. So that's handy. And if it transcribes something wrong, I can edit it. I can go back to the document and edit it in place. And to correct a typo or something like that. But otherwise, it did get the highlights right? So you can see over here. We've got everything in the same place. We've got green boxes and yellow highlights in the same page, but I can restrict it to one or the other. So the way I envision this working, basically, is show me everything in every category that is a yellow highlight, because maybe I'm going to use that as a to-do list, right? And then I can X these out every time I get something done from my to-do list, for example. So this gets really powerful really fast because it lets you find, uh, information in your documents very quickly in a way that's very easy for you to do um, while you are editing the document, while you're actually doing the writing. So that's the basic idea here. Just as a reminder, we also have this folder, functionality. What kind of stuff are we, written in the root folder? How about my, Moffat folder from one of my other devices, my Code 7. I actually have been daily driving the Code 7 quite a bit. It wasn't even there, but it goes. Okay. Okay. No. It's actually a shook. Yeah. 7. Well, that's something for me to implement. But if I want to just restrict it by device. Thing is, you don't normally want to restrict it by device. That's not that useful usually, right? You don't really care what device things are generated on. I was just going to kind of see if I could do it. But right, so and then we have the word cloud feature, which is just kind of fun. You can go to all documents. You can do cross device categories is what we really mean, because you've got I've got a personal folder, non folder, not a professional folder on all my devices. They're all different, right? So if I go here, this will show me everything related to work. Which is nice. I think I need to have it ignore some words like title, date, document, PDF, sync, or yeah, because those are things that are not actually important, right? They're part of the file name or whatever. So. Yeah, so I wanted to see if anybody has any questions about how this works, or especially if they have suggestions about other features that would be useful. I could really use that. So I think I may or may not even have anybody connected, which is fine. I started this with very little use. So if not, I'm going to go ahead and sign on. But I'm pretty happy with the progress that I've made on it so far, and I think it's going to be really useful. And I think I have some idea of how to get rid of false positives. So that's good. So yeah, that's where we're at. And I hope everybody has a lovely weekend. Wow, that sounded bad. Okay. I hope everybody has a lovely weekend. So, ciao.